Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to a very special workshop with Bain Finch, who is one of the best camera people in Second Life. I know no one who can get the long tracking shots that Bain can. And on top of that, he is incredibly helpful in giving advice and helping people understand the techniques for making their own films. He does an awful lot of work supporting events, particularly associated with Relay for Life. So an all-round good egg, which is the reason that he won the first special Lepisian Memorial Award, which we give at the Wafflies every year to honor people who've made a real contribution to Second Life machinima. And Bain was our first recipient.
Thank you, Saffia, for that wonderful intro. A little blushed.
But every word is true, right, Bain?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I look back, it's like, I can't believe all the fun I've had.
Huh? Don't. Remember you coming to Cinema Mondays in 2000, what was it?
Thereabouts, yeah. Shortly after I found Second Life. One of the things I was very curious about. I've always had a fascination with photography and movie making, I guess, in sorts, but it wasn't until I got here that I realized how possible it was here. And so I just grew out of that.
Today,
yes,
you have prepared a camera workshop, or how should I call it? Much more than that.
Well, this just grew out of the initial planning for this film festival when we brought it into Fantasy Fair. I've always been interested in, or not interested, always wanting to help people get started doing this because it's so easy to do. Most of the software is free. You can start with all free stuff pretty much and start making videos. It was that easy, and I just wanted to be able to help share some of that knowledge, with people, and I grew out of into this talk of let's start with the very basics of cinematic terms and basic concepts, framing, composition, all the stuff that goes into photography as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if you are ready to launch, I will also do the same. Let's see. Let's clear up my desktop so you can see a little better.
Bain, you've gone quiet.
Oops.
I can still hear him. I can still hear. And you will tell me switch on the screen, right?
I've gone quiet.
Oh.
Okay. All right. If you've all started the multimedia panel behind me, then I'm going to switch over to multimedia so that you can hear me a little better and in sync with the visuals also. So, and then after the talk, I'll come back into local so we can answer questions and talk. So, is everybody able to see the multimedia?
Hang on, it's
loading
a bit. Yeah.
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 Let me spin around so I can see it too.
Oh no. It's showing an old film. Why? I don't know.
Hello, welcome.
I'm seeing the Anna Kirker film.
Yeah, me too, which is really weird.
Did you get my link, Chantel?
Right.
I'm currently streaming this lovely, lovely, lovely library.
Hang on, it's laggy. I'm sure. I'm sure. I've altered the link a little bit. Maybe that works. Yes, there we are. Okay, it's on the screen.
All right. Everybody able to see it? I'm not going to start it because then I'm going to get the echo of myself coming through the stream. Excellent. Okay, good.
We can do a 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, it's a live stream. Everybody's going to dial into it together. It's not like a pre-recorded video.
Did I get the stream public chat for the people that can't see the screen here?
Sure. So you can watch on your local browser. All right, I'm going to switch voice over to multimedia. And one. All right. Everybody able to hear me in the multimedia panel? And then we'll begin. Movie magic. Hello, welcome one and all. All right, thank you, Frey. All right, my name is Bain Finch, and this is a little introduction and brief overview of cinematography terms and concepts in movie making. Individual directors may have their own standards and deviations from these generally accepted definitions. So, a movie is just a collection of short clips to tell a story. A strip is usually eventually written into different formats in the movie world, one being a production script, and further breakdowns will be done via storyboards to help visualize a shot. A production script may have details about the environment, location, key props, effects they're trying to do, broken down to individual scenes. So a storyboard will be created so everyone can visualize, build, script their props, costume, and prepare for the shot in a sequence. A book may say in various formats, for a given scene, a gun battle breaks out, go into the story. But in a production script, it will expand the scene to say extra close up on the gun, fingers slowly squeezing the trigger. As the gun goes off, speed ramp to slow motion, and go into the details of all that shot. The storyboard will also reflect the composition they're trying to get for each individual shot, how close, the angles, framing, and all the key visual elements you see there. So in those two scripts, or script and storyboard, you see there's a language needed so that the director and the camera people and the editors and set builders, costume props, and other production people can all maintain the same creative vision. That language builds on photography, framing, angles, composition, with the addition of motion terms. So what follows is the alphabet of the language of the camera speaks.
By combining each element of framing, angles, composition, motion, the camera can speak of conflicts, fight scenes, suspense, horror, revelations, discoveries, entrances, exits, passion, excitement, etc., etc. So, let's begin. All right. Let's start with the very, very basics. Let's start with the establishing shot. This is one I took early this morning, and it's just a static establishing shot. Think of most sitcoms, the shot of the house you never see in the show from the outside ever again, or the empty living room just before all the actors make their entrances. All the while, credits are playing out. An establishing shot may be also used when switching locations or big changes in time and that sort of thing. So let's get down to even more basics. The framing of people. So the first shot is this mug of this guy here. Framing people generally starts with a single person. The person is centered, facing the camera, line of sight with the eyes. Framing is only concerned about the top and bottom of the frame. The top frame is just set to above this person's head, hat, or headdress or hairdo, that sort of thing when you're dealing with a full shot. The bottom frame defines the shot type. A full shot shows their feet. A medium full shot excuse me. A medium full shot stops at the knees. The next is the coolest term ever, the cowboy shot. Here, the top of the frame is dropped down to just above the top of the head, regardless if they're wearing a big hairdo or a hat or something. And the bottom frame is brought up to their thighs, so you can just see their hand on the gun. This came out of the Western movies of the 60s, 50s, and all that stuff. And that's the perfect form. Cowboy shot. So you got to focus on their eyes and their hand on the gun. The next shot, we move up to the waist. For the medium shot, this is probably one of the more common ones that you will see a lot of, and it's just from the waist up, and then we push in a little closer to the chest for the medium close-up, and then for the close-up, you stop at the shoulders. After that, we get into extreme close-ups, and that will just do something like show the eyes, the hand on the gun, the finger, that sort of thing. Another descriptor you'll get in these kind of shots are like the solo shot, the two shots, two people, three people, or a group shot. That's these, basically is the first part of the descriptors of a shot. So a close-up, group shot, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I got a bit of a tickle today in my throat. Another one is, it's actually three shots. One is called the point of view shot. The other is the over the shoulder shot, and the other one is a line of sight shot. In a line of sight shot, you are looking what the person is looking at. But that shot will never get used without one of the other two, because one shot, like over the shoulder, shows the person looking at something, and then we go to line of sight to show what they're looking at. It might be, they're opening up a drawer, and just as the drawer starts to open, we go to line of sight to reveal what the drawer contains. That sort of thing. That's how they tend to get used. And this is the point of view shot, where you see their eyes looking at something, and then you go back to what they were looking at. And then the next two framings, and these are all the more or less static shots, there might be some movement in there, is the leading shot. Here it's showing where the next shot might be going. It might be showing who he's talking to somebody just off frame, or he just completed something, and now his whole adventure is now forward. So the past is behind him, and that's the sort of thing you got here. Or the trailing shot. Now he's cornered. His troubles are behind him. He's not forward. He's not forward thinking. The leading shot is not leading somewhere. It's focused behind and what has happened. So these are the basic shots that build from photography. And then, so now I'm going to switch over to live. And I also have to stand up for this guy. Let's get over to the front of the stage because I need some height. There we go. And go to fly cam. So the next bunch of types are the angle shots. We have the extreme low shot, the medium, the line of sight, and a high shot, and an extreme high shot. These all tend to get used with the power sequence. Somebody is shown to be from low, is shown to be powerful. Think of movies like A Few Good Men, where they're battling it out in a courtroom. They're both Nicholson and Cruise are battling it out, and they're trying to get dominance, and they're both shown from an angle of this far because they're trying to dominate the other one. The high shot tends to be shown as insecurity. They're being dominated on. They've lost their power. That's the sort of thing they're trying to do here. They get used for a lot of different reasons too, but those are the main components of that one. And I just have to do a little tweak here because I forgot to enable it. The craziest angle of them all, because it's also a motion, is the Dutch angle, where you turn the camera sideways. This is generally used with one of the others, like a high angle or a low angle shot, to show that something's gone really amiss. That's the basic idea here, is that the story's taken a twist, and they just realize that something's really. You'll see this a lot used in the 60s, the Batman series a lot. You're in the Penguin's lair and everything's skewed, everything's on an angle, that sort of thing. So that's, and the last one is your bird's eye view. This is generally used when, say somebody's walking through the park and they're having that secret talk with somebody, and it's to show how secluded they are, or that sort of thing. Or, they're going through the down a street scene or something like that, and they're being followed. It shows the whole sequence of everything that's happening there. That's the basic idea there with those shots. Okay. Now we get into our motion shots. So first, I'll get myself set up. There we go. Get this thing out of my way. Alright, so here we have our basic motion shots. We have our pan left and right, so that's just moving sideways, keeping square with this, the person or the scene that you're shooting. Let's see, generally with a line of sight or on, a higher left angle. We have the did I get that right? Yeah, pan left. I always get these two terms mixed up. Right, pan. Yes. Sorry, I did get that mixed up. Ashley's going to kill me. Anyways, pan is basically you are orbiting the person. You know, you want to see them a little more from the side, so you pan over to the side. So you tend to orbit around the person, keeping the same focal distance and that sort of thing. That's what it is. The next one is our trucking, and that's the one that goes side of your trucking sideways. You're trucking left or right. The next one is your dolly shot, which is you're just pushing in closer or dollying out, pushing out farther. And then we get into our let's see. Right. And then we get into the pedestal, which is now we start turning up or down, or pedestaling up, and then we probably pan down to get back in the center of frame. And then the last one we got the tilt, which is your Dutch angle. And the last one I can't simulate. Oh, actually, I might be able to. No, I can't. Not without the fly cam. Is a zoom action where you're changing the focal length of the lens of the camera. So you're zooming closer, but you're framing back, so it changes your perspective of the person. Okay, and now this I can get back into video mode. I'm gonna play you some sample clips that I've recorded and shot. So the first one here is just a simple pull out from two different shots, from a medium close up to a full shot. And I found this wonderful subject, willing subject outside. I really love that thing, by the way. So that's just a simple pull out, and then we come to a stop, and they would keep on talking or doing whatever. So here I'm gonna pause this. Now this is the dolly zoom shot. It's probably one of the hardest shots to do. It was originally created by Alfred Hitchcock and is sometimes known as the vertical effect, where you frame a subject in the camera and then you change the zoom length so that the area behind them pulls back or compresses. You've seen that a lot. So here you need a big long space to do that, because as you get the zoom going longer, the camera has to pull back an equal amount. So here I'm using the region border just outside the door here, and you can see I start off pretty close. And I slowly pull back, and the zoom length is just getting longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And then the next pair actually is an establishing shot, and right now I can almost feel Saffia smiling because these are our favorites. This first one was for the opening of episode 2 of Omega Hex, and we're way up on top of that tower over there that you probably recognize from a Fantasy Fair or shopping. And I had shown them a couple of different ones, but this is the one I showed them last, and I knew it was going to be the winner. It's just a long push into the base of the tower, and Xander, when he did his magic, picked some amazing music for this. Seriously dramatic. It's just building on the visuals. It was beautiful. So here I'm spinning underneath the tower. I'm trying to miss the opening door because it's a functioning retail space in there with vendor panels all over the place. And then we slowly climb the tower. And right now I'm looking for a very specific rooftop to find the alleyway. And then we do a little dodge here to find where our people are. And the fun thing about this one is that once I showed them and I got to this point here, there was like 5 seconds of silence on the Discord call there. Everybody was just catching their breath like, yeah, that's a shot. It was such a great moment. I loved it. This next one is a further along in the episode. Our people just got caught. And so all the gear that they've been carrying to get themselves to this point is sitting there on that table. And so they are about to be interrogated by the evil Alice. And I'm using visual cues in the background just to skim across the top of their heads. And then I do a push in to the evil Alice. The funny thing about this one is I don't remember doing it. But when Saffia showed it to me, it was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, this next shot, let's have a little more fun here. This is a one shot that I did. Saffia, when she did the Home and Garden Expo, she had home decorating contests, and she got me to do tours of all the houses. This one, in particular, had to be the hardest one I've ever done, strictly because of how much stuff they have on there and how small it is, because it's a tiny little trailer. So I'm going to let this roll. This place is just jam-packed. I had so much fun trying to find the perfect path here, because there's just so much to see. Come around here. So here I'm looking for a gap in those trees because there's a lovely little pond there. What's up? And then looking for the next gap in the trees. And then I gotta find that water spout because I have to duck down and miss a little greenhouse right behind me because it would have hidden all that stuff. And then find the sunflower seeds. And this is where it really gets hard. Doing the interior. The camera is just barely the width of the door. So I have to do a little side thing to miss the actual door. And this beautiful, beautiful little trailer. It's just jam-packed with stuff. That just made it look so realistic. And I will say this took probably like about 15 different takes to get it just right. And you'll see there's one little smash through. Well, that was a temporary reser, so it's just cycling. Right in this back room here, it's just so tight that I just could not do it without crashing through a perm right there. And then we go through this gap sideways. And then we get ourselves up to the loft. Find a little sleepy kitty. And then the hard part. Getting back out of the trailer backwards. Line up with the floorboards. Find the dark one, shift sideways. Because right at the very top was this last little nugget. Nice little book reading spot. So that's probably my very hardest one shot that I ever did. And then we get into a tracking shot. And heck, what more fun than liberating the 6-axis. So here I'm just chasing this plane I'm not attached to it or zoom locked on it. I'm just free flying behind it. And I will add that I've played a lot of flight simulator games back in my day. And you will find there's a term in the industry called the money shot. It's usually special effects, and that's where all these type of things are really all coming to being. Everything has to be planned out to the minute moments. All right, the last bunch of components would be composition. So here is your standard thirds layout, where you have the frame is broken up into thirds, and pretty much all the action happens either on the middle column or the middle row of action. So everything would line up along those lines, and you will see that pretty much do any shot in the world, and you will find that. The easiest other composition is the asymmetrical, where everything is symmetrical in one plane, usually in the horizontal. And then there's, we get into more fancy ones, which the V, you'll see this one used a lot, where the action is contained within a triangle, everything else is secondary. And you'll see that this is another common one. Got a bit of a top-down view on Mr. Bond, because he's tied up in a vulnerable position and leading to where our antagonist could be coming out of the elevator. So it's a nice, beautiful composition. And then we can get into more classical or traditional cultural formats, where here at the Matrix, a Japanese feel where the action is contained within cells. Or something more from the Renaissance. Excuse me. So let's take a little visualization here. I'm pretty sure lots of you have seen the Kill Bill movies. Uma Thurman is about to get shot at her wedding. It's an extreme... line of sight shot. How can I forget about this slide? This is a nice little composition because it shows a moment in time where, maybe there's confrontation, or it's a discussion that, hey, we should team up. It's one of those lines, everybody's looking at everybody. You can kind of get that feel that it's a special moment. So now we get into the Kill Bill movies. So here's a nice little composition. It's a tight framing, extreme high angle, it's canted, so it's skewed because she's about to get shot. Later on in the movie, she's showing dominance over Oshi Ren after the wonderful sword fight of extremes. She's in the trunk. You see the lid of the trunk and nothing else, and you see Uma Thurman telling her to tell Kill Bill, "I'm coming for you." So those are your very basic building blocks of visualizations, framing, composition, and the like for cinematic terms and movie making. One tip that I've always been sharing in the video group is to watch an action scene in slow motion and turn the sound off, so that you can actually, because an action sequence is usually a whole bunch of little sequence of clips all stitched together, all leading one to the other, and it happens so fast you can't study them. So slow it down to 25%, even slower. Turn the sound off so you're not getting distracted by all that stuff, so you can study how each clip is composed, and the actions and how it flows from one to another to another.
And we're back. Local voice. Hello.
All right. That concludes my little talk.
Yay! So that is a very short and I hope sweet.
I switched the TV off. Is that okay, Bain?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yes. All right. All right. Back in the room.
So,
Welcome back.
Bain, that was excellent.
Thank you.
So, suppose there will be questions. Everybody's so impressed they daren't speak.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just said that it starts with the camera and the shot, and then after that, it's built by, lighting and the set blocking and everything else that goes upon it. So that's just a synopsis of the basic terms, so that one person on the team can talk to another one, and they both understand what it's trying to do.
Right.
So, yes, I do have plans, and I'm talking to a few people in the Second Life Video Creators Group about the next stop. How do you do all this work with a controller and a viewer? So there's two basic types. You have your Space Navigator, or you have an Xbox controller. Those are your two basic types. The third way, keyboard. And I have some people lined up to do all three of those.
Yeah. Mac. He does everything with.
Yeah. I blew these two girls' minds when I told them that that MacGyver mode you see in his action stuff, his action machining, it's all done by keyboard. You don't have to have a controller to do that type of clips. It's crazy what I found out. It's just, I just do it all by keyboard. It's like, no way! Ah! So yeah, those are going to be coming out, and we have other plans for other basic things. So yes, they'll be coming. Yeah, Xbox controller. Everybody's got one somewhere in their closet of electronics, and a basic Xbox controller with a USB.
Yeah, I nicked my kids one, so.
Yeah. I use both. I use both. I use the Space Nav because it can do some things better than the Xbox can, but the Xbox can do certain things the Space Nav can't do. So if you start fiddling around with both of them, you realize, well, there's situations for this and situations for that. But I'm just obsessed with this stuff. Sorry. Like that dolly zoom shot was a shot that I took a whole year trying to figure out how to get my controller to do it. Now that I can, it's like, oh, and then now Firestorm added a feature you can do it a second way. So.
Oh really?
Oh, what's that feature?
Tell us about it. You woke us up.
It needs a further refinement. If you go to your Photo Tools tab, thing, way over on the last tab is Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In there, the second to last one from is Zoom, and you can zoom
speed.
So instead of before you used to have to do Control 9, Control Plus to go and move it in steps, here you could roll it by either up and down arrow or that slider. You can go from extreme telephoto to normal view.
I never thought.
While you do that, here, while you're playing that, bring up your local map so you could see what you're looking at. You know, or the region that we're in. Do you see a big white angle of, you know, sloping off in this direction or that direction?
Yeah.
Now, as you change that zoom, watch what happens to that thing. It shows you the angle of what you're actually viewing.
I haven't used my 3D mouse for so long. I'm going to need to completely reset it. It's just not doing anything.
Right. So, but that's what I mean. You know, this talk could go on, especially once we hit the viewer and technology. It gets very, not detailed, but there's a lot you could do, you know. You bring in other components like, you know, the photographic components of the viewer with photo tools, depth of field, you know, lighting, wind lights, atmospheres. You know, you can really change an environment really like you could never could in real life. You know, being able to just fly through a wall.
Yeah.
Actually, Bain, I find the biggest problem is not flying through a wall.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
When you make these turns, you once gave me a really good tip, you know, when Saffia asked us to do all the regions last year of the and it was too jerky. Every time I went forward with the space nav, it was like jumping. And you said just go a little bit, go sideways, you know, go forward but sideways. And it works.
Something.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, who was it? I think it was Old Soul who commented on that. He said, be careful with your turns because some people, if you turn too quick and everything that you're looking at is moving, they have a hard time with that. And that's when I developed the lock turn, where you lock one edge of your frame on something and you pivot around that gives somebody with those kind of conditions something to lock onto while you change directions, because you know everything's moving so fast. You know, it's people who get car sick. You know, the visuals are, you know, they have a hard time locking into something. So that's, you know, I developed that, you know, the lock turn. Or
It's
you know,
also less laggy. Yeah.
That's right.
Works.
Or it's, I call it a skid turn or a lock turn, where you skid in the direction that you're going, but you're already turning, so you're starting to look down that road, and just as you line into it, you move forward again. So
Let's call it the Bain movement, right? The Bain move.
the Bain move. Oh,
The Bain move.
No!
Slowly start turning your camera in the direction you want to go. Picture that you're going through a long hallway, right? And you have to go around the corner, and you already start turning your camera a little bit while you're sliding forward. It works, and you're doing a Bain move then.
Yeah, I know. You picked that up last year really nicely.
I did.
Yeah.
You saved me, because I'm a perfectionist. I was doing the same shot over and over again.
Yeah.
I scared my cats, you know, complaining bitterly at the screen and Second Life and.
Oh, you should hear Muse and I in the back channel sometimes when things are going south on a show we're doing. I really want to get the Dutch shot going on those.
Yeah, that's good. And there's questions from the audience, I see. Yeah? Let's see. Fire is asking, do you have a resource for learning the Xbox controls more easily?
There will be. once I can get Bincaster to do his. He's an Xbox user, so we're going to team up, and I'm going to cover the Space Nav, and he's going to cover the Xbox because they borrow almost identical control sets and this and that. But the Xbox, because it has different buttons to do 6 different axes, you know, where the Space Nav is more of a joystick, so you can pull, twist, move sideways, forward, blah 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 with one knob. Where the Xbox, you got to use multiple knobs, so you will assign this axis and this axis on that hat, and that axis and that axis on that hat, or something like that. And he knows all about it.
And will you come to Machinima Mondays when you've got that ready? Because I'm sure all the filmmakers will be extremely interested.
Yes.
Please, yes. You all heard it. Bain promised.
Yes.
Yes, and to answer Penambro's question, yeah, I am constantly changing the parameters of my controller depending on a shot, because I can go from moving at a snail pace, or what I call going into an F-16 mode, where I can cross a region in 4 seconds. You know, when I'm in that mode, trying to do interior spaces is extremely difficult. So I tone back the value. So when I push, I'm only moving a few inches, not, multiple meters.
And Muse says, if it's just one sim, you can go to debug settings. Do you do that? And disable LOD lots so that everything is maximum rest.
Yeah.
It doesn't pop in and out, which I find really annoying, the popping in and out. Yeah. We are used to it, but people from outside of Second Life, why are the buildings popping in and out? It's I didn't know you could do that. Thank you. So Penumbra says you have multiple windows open?
I do try to limit how many. Well, that's just said. Every video card has one encoder. So if you are rendering Second Life, you are recording something or live streaming, you got 2 different encoding process. And if you got YouTube open watching your YouTube live stream, you now got 3 encoding processes all fighting for frame rates. So it's you want to limit how many windows you open when you're live streaming and capturing, especially windows that do encoding.
Yeah, there is a trick to designate one of the windows you have open.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change. Maybe you want to share that with us?
There's a few different ways that you could do that. If you are using if you're using an add-on video card, it will have its own encoder. And then most computers have a built-in video component, so you plug a second monitor into there, you run your OBS on that one, and you have Second Life on your main computer. That's one way of doing it. Another way, you go into your NVIDIA properties and you change the application priority of which application gets the highest access to the encoding process. But that can cause troubles because they both need to run pretty much at the same pace. But there are little tweaks you can do there to help.
I thought there was a setting too in Second Life. I think Godiva once told us, but I have to admit I forgot how to do it. Then it worked. But I'll get back to that.
Well, the other thing you can definitely do is that you can limit your frame rate Second Life is using, because the default, it wants to scream along at the highest frame rate it can go. But if you're only recording something for 30 frames per second live streaming, tell Second Life to, only work up to 35, because everything else is a waste of energy on my encoder, and I need that resource for streaming.
Yeah.
You also use an alt, don't you, for some of your
Yes,
filming?
I have a second computer that I can run a second process and with an alt, so I end up having two cameras, so I can record on that one and then record on this computer, and bring both videos into the editing studio, so I get two different shots for every shot that we do.
Brilliant.
Just like real life. Huh?
Yeah, and and that's why I love working with Muse, because she can bring a third camera in place, and and then working in video groups, I can have 40 cameras covering one action scene, like, and then you bring all that video in together in the studio and start cutting away.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun. Are there any questions we missed from the chat? If you haven't had your answer yet or your question, please say again. And Panza is thanking Muse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Muse is such of a wonderful resource. You see that movie Wild Wild West. The guy with all the techie bits. She knows tech like nobody else. She can do stuff with OBS Studio that I just couldn't believe you could actually do. And her understanding of Second Life and all the issues with lag and all that other stuff. She is the expert for that kind of stuff. I have a question, I ask her first.
Oh, well.
I was going to say, last year I wasn't really well enough to... I was going to say... Yeah, I wasn't really well enough to do designing worlds at all, so I just kind of withdrew. But I would like to get it going again, and I know Chantel and you would like to as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we could find you a lot more camera people, maybe.
That would be good. But I was wondering, would it be worth recording the regions this year?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that, because I just want to actually enjoy some of them for a bit. Because there's a serious amount of time commitment to hit all the regions,
Yeah.
Because I don't know how long it took you, about an hour per region, Chantel?
Oh, easily. Well,
Yeah.
some went really quick, like in 20 minutes, and the others would be like 2 hours.
Yeah, well,
And
the hardest
almost
part
finished, and then the camera would jump like boing through the sun and start again.
the hardest part is trying to find the path around to be able to show everything. So you spend 40 minutes flying around and flying around and flying around to get it right,
First decide the path, to find what's there, and decide where to shoot and how to do it, and then you start filming, and all these tinies come in and start singing and dinkies and
that's something happens right in the middle of the shoot. And it's like
that's really it's really the Faire. Yeah, if so, we have to do it in the last week, but I'll try.
I was thinking basically, once the Faire is over, if we could just catch some of them, it would be good.
Thank you, Muse, for answering Uda's question. Yes, I was waiting for a gap there. Yes, the tutorials they're gonna be on YouTube, but they're being pooled into a 101 library of sorts in that Discord server. So that's where we all play in the machinima world. So great people there, very much like Relay for Life. They're all willing to help. Anybody answer any questions, because we grow together as a family, as a community, and I think you'll have fun there. I do.
Yeah. You can just join the group, I think.
That's right.
I can't invite people, can I? Who's the owner of the group? Is it Jordan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jordan,
You guys know Jordan Rizzo.
yeah,
Just send him an eye. He's very helpful.
Rizzo or Laws or Joy. Yeah, I'll gladly
Or
help.
Swayman is also.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of things in the works there. He's rebuilding the website to actually be a website.
Yeah.
It will contain a lot of the monthly winners of the awards and some of the past award shows and a whole bunch of more. Yeah, it's slowly growing. It's what 300, almost 400 members now over there, and they're all different levels of expertise. Right from people like Anna and Godiva who are in a league of their own, to people who are just trying to figure it out and see if it's for them. And a lot of them are trying. And it's fun. It's cool. Cool to see.
Yeah.
See people to give it a try.
Mm. Yeah, and a lot of support there too. If you need animations, props, even sim space, people are all helping. Yeah.
The mental resources for all that stuff is just amazing.
Yeah.
I need an animation to do this. Oh, here, go here,
Yeah.
or here's one. I got a copy. It's done. Collaborations. I need some stand-ins. I need a voice. I need this. Oh, I'm free. Okay, great. Meet me over here. And the way they go. So.
Oh, Brie, that's always hard, hosting and at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you can only focus on one, no matter how much people say that we girls can multitask. It's
Yeah.
It's definitely not true. So. I think the questions are slowing down. To answer all the questions? Well, I say we, but it's Bain, really. That's. You do such a good job, Bain. You're wonderful to do this for us. It's
Yes.
so good for everybody, and it's recorded, so other people that can't be here will be able
Exactly.
to.
That's the whole thing about it, is that it's so easy to record something.
Mm. Well, if you're experienced, yeah.
Well, believe it or not, I learned the hard way. Just like I found out how easy it was to record something with OBS, and it just rolled on from there. So, and OBS is a free software, and now there's some wonderful, powerful, free video editing software out there called DaVinci. I highly recommend it if you want to give it a try. It's as powerful as Premiere is.
Oh, really? I have an expensive subscription to Adobe? Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
The only thing is that it does have a bit of a retraining learning curve, so find a window to get into it. But Muse has picked it up quite well, easily, so if she can, I can too.
Yeah, the software can be free. It just depends on what you're willing to invest in or what you're willing to learn. Because I can really handle Adobe.
Yeah.
DaVinci, but I have to relearn. My
right.
subscription goes till November, I think.
Yeah.
So a couple of months
Yeah,
left.
there's a comfort level there. The copy that I'm working was a student edition. It was the last desktop edition that they had, and I've never upgraded to the cloud and renewed my key or anything like that. So I just keep reinstalling it over top of new operating system, and it keeps working. So
I think that was 2016, the last CD
yeah,
one.
thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have that one for Photoshop.
But it's pretty limited in what I can do now. With 4K video and all that beautiful stuff.
Yeah, but the one that's in the cloud has so many options now that
Yeah.
I don't even go there anymore. It's and AI is really being integrated into it. So
Yeah.
most of the time I don't know what.
It's, AI is on your desktop. It's in your operating system, and it's in your editing software. It's like you just can't get away from it.
Mm.
And so it's getting nasty if you want to stay AI free. But the AI that's in your editing software is more of a automation thing. Like what used to take days, Saffia had this chat, what used to take days and days and days of editing in After Effects and stuff like that is now being done in minutes because of the AI technology and the editing software.
Yeah.
It's not stealing from somebody, it's doing this sequence of operations over and over and over again at computer speed, so it automates a process that used to take.
Well, AI is a tool. It's a tool,
right.
You should always be honest.
That's the tool that it should be, the tool that we inspired to be, but this AI technology just goes out and steals from everything to learn, and then, that's definitely wrong. Definitely wrong.
It is. But people have always been abusing new techniques, but AI can be quite dangerous.
That's right.
Yeah, if you use it as a tool. And for the filmmakers, I had a lot of complaints that we don't allow AI in this year's competition for the Golden Wafflies. But I said, first of all, this is a charity event. And second, we've been making machinima for many, many years before AI was even out, right? We've been making machinima for almost 20 years. So we can do it for another year. And who knows, next year things might be different.
Yeah.
But I just had to put in my 5 cents. Sorry, Bain.
It's all right. AI is a very hot topic no matter where you go. And the only way we could, come to an understanding is discussing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Take care, Uda.
Okay, bye, Uda.
Oh, I'm on the fence too.
I think if it can help with some things like like matching lips to dialogue, that's incredibly useful.
That's an example I was talking about. It used to take days and days of After Effects of moving pixels around one frame at a time.
Yeah.
Now it's being automated through AI to do that very same task. It's not stealing from somebody else's work. It's automating a task.
It's making your own work up to the standard, bringing it up to the standard that you intended it to be. I know that Mac used AI on a film. He did film shoots years ago, and he finished the film now. And of course, there's a lot of color difference and graphical difference. Yeah. You can see, the first half of the movie is shot 3 years ago, and the second half is shot a few months ago. So he brought it together with AI. Now, in the old days, we had to do that manually with After Effects, and now AI can do it. But you know what? That's his own work. He's not doing any harm. He's making things better. Cheer it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a deep, deep dive into another talk, I'm thinking.
Yes. You're not kidding. Okay. Right. Is there anything else we need to answer? Say, Bree is talking, has helped you create a SL script, right? Yeah. I wrote a movie script with ChatGPT, and then only one line stayed in. I took it out of the credit roll. I would have credited it.
Okay. Well, I probably need to get my dinky on if I'm going to the tiny cell in jail.
Yeah, I got nudged to. Let's see. Let's go find that message so I get it quoted properly. Let's see. If you're not doing anything at the jail bail, something might happen worth recording. Was a little tweet that was sent to me. They are cooking something up there.